Welcome back to Your Animist Life. Again, I am Quinn. It's great to be with you. So, I had asked you to take note of different experiences that you've had over your life so far that leave you with a little bit of a question mark, or maybe an unsettled feeling, meaning like, I think that was something, but I don't know what to do with it, or people are calling me crazy, or touched, or daydreamer, or what. There's lots of words for how people talk about us. Okay, so this time I want to dive into your ancestry. Now, depending on how you live now, let's say, or have you been brought up within a religious system or not? And then what type of religious system? One of the three Abrahamic religions, or something outside of that? Other than that, just take note of that first, because, or kind of nothing. But the culture itself, as we can see now, is definitely a certain monotheistic approach is consistent about the way things need to be. So we have all been influenced or trained in a certain ways about how we think about life, how we categorize what is real, what is not, what is good, what is not, all kinds of things like that. So that is a whole big old box to unpack, which I hope you are at least beginning to think about unpacking it, because it is pretty important. For here, what I want to approach is your ancestry. So part of what we get trained in is about our ancestors. Human ancestors go back thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Now, if you grew up in a religious system that disagrees with that, okay, you're going to have to unpack that for yourself. But let's say for anyone who acknowledges, maybe you Google it, how old is human history on Earth? See what it says. I haven't actually done that. I will do that after recording this and see what it says. But we have cave art. We have ancient archaeological sites all over the planet, going back many thousands of years, that show culture, right? That show that we engaged with each other and we engaged with our ancestors and those who have passed out of this physical world with reverence and having a feeling that we are going on to something else, maybe after we pass, after we die here, our body dies. And that's pretty consistent. So one of the consistent aspects of humanity is that most of the time we do, for the most part, honor our ancestors, whether still here in the physical world or beyond. And we have way more ancestors that have passed than that are living, right? Vastly more. And so more recent ancestors, maybe you are a person that is connected with your heritage, your ancestors, specific ancestors, grandparents, great-grandparents. Maybe you knew them or know them, maybe you're connected. Maybe they're not your kind of people in here. We'll get to kin later, as far as heart kin. But they don't see you, or maybe they don't honor you, or you don't really fit into their worldview. You're kind of on your own. No matter what your relationship with your current or recent ancestors, all of our ancestors, all of our ancestries, even those completely from Europe, all ancestral connections back to Europe, any continent on this beautiful earth, we all come from animist, without having another word to use, animist ancestors. For some of us, it's been 2,500 years, 3,000 years. Some of us, it's 1,500 years, 1,000 years. Maybe it is 700 years, 500 years, 200 years since contact with the settlers, the new people that came and wanted everyone to change to their way. It's happened all over the planet. Not only one religion has done it, multiple religions have done it. And the result is the same, that many of us then have been trained to believe that we don't have ancestors that were of the old ways. So the reason I'm bringing this up first is it's very important that every one of us and you really trust and believe that you have energy in this game, like that you are included in this. It's not something that some exotic other people have. You may not have a direct living lineage with the old ways, the traditional ways, the pre-contact ways of your ancestors. Maybe all of your ancestors are Christian or Muslim or whatever one of the newer religions is. And also a lot of cultures, older cultures who were kind of shifted to the new way hundreds of years ago, they still have quite a few aspects of the old ways within the culture. Even Christianity, a Christmas tree, old ways. Catholicism, a lot of the saints were old, right? A lot of churches were built on old sacred sites before Christianity. So that's very common. You come from animist people. Now, around the world, there is a lot of variety about how people look, about how the language, the land, what kind of land people live in, from a deep rainforest, and even rainforests have a lot of variety, to desert, to high mountain, to coastal, cold, like equator, polar, right? So much variety on that. And animals, the animals that they experienced in their daily lives, all different. And within those differences, there are lots of similarities because we're human. And so part of the way you might want to think about animism is that the natural way of how humans operate. We have intuition, we have empathy, we have dreams, we like to alter our consciousness and in a variety of ways, and we also understand that when, let's say, ourselves or our ancestors pass out of our body, that most of animist people believe that then there's this other place or this other realm or another dimension or something that where they go. Some people, we might generally call it a spirit world or something else. And that there is interaction or a bit of liminal fluidity between the realms. It goes on and on. There's just lots of different similarities of humans. We all like to play games and sport. We all like competition, right? There's just a human thing about us that we're all this way. And we may describe it differently. We may talk about it differently. Our sensibilities might be a bit different, but ultimately humans are humans, and humans have animist roots. We are a part of the web of life. That's another consistency, that we are included in the natural web of life. This idea that we're separate is new and is damaging to the planet as a whole and to our own people. Now, if you, after hearing me talk like that, if you think, if you have any feeling of uh-oh, or nervousness, or concern, or doubt, just sit with that. We're taught to not accept certain ideas, or that it's dangerous to, or that there's a slippery slope where if we start with one idea, then all of a sudden all hell literally is going to break loose. So just let it be. And notice what you notice. Notice how you feel. Notice how you feel about that, about your ancestry. Doesn't mean you would like every ancestor or that they would like you. But for people especially who don't feel accepted by their current lineage or recent ancestors because of who they are, the way they are, I like to say, because I think it's true, that while all of us have a certain number of ancestors that we don't want anything to do with, maybe they've done and they do horrible things, we don't want to be kin with them. But if we go back, our whole lineage that is in our DNA, we are made up in our cells of our body from these people, right? So within all the cells of our body, there are how many? A handful or more ancestors, maybe 100 years, maybe 500 years, maybe 1,000 years ago, where they would meet us and they might think we're kind of weird and unique because we're different than them, but they would recognize us. They would see themselves in us. They are rooting for us. They are grateful for us. Maybe also some ancestors from the time of the horrible, and we're not that far out of it now, in different places around the world, and even right here in what we now call commonly the United States, which is where I am. Horrible things. And people have felt they've had to hide because of horrible, horrible things. That maybe that's how they died. They spoke out, they existed, they were murdered, they were tortured. I'm sorry to speak this way, but horrible things. And they're rooting for you. They're supporting you because they see themselves in you. You might even feel their fear. I've had that happen, and I hear that from people. The little feelings of the voices saying, be careful, no, 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 don't speak out, no, 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 hide in plain sight. And if you have any of those feelings, that's probably where it comes from. There's no quick fix for this. I'm bringing it up so that you can think about it. Maybe write about it. Maybe look up online, or if you've done DNA testing, but look up online about where you think different parts of you are from. And you could search for traditional culture, ancient culture, pagan cultures, put in different words to see pre-Christian or pre-blank, whatever the religion is, cultures of this region. And you might be very pleasantly surprised to see some things that maybe you have some interest in. Okay, so see where this little rabbit hole takes you. And when you're ready, go on to the next little bite-sized chunk, a little nibble of your animist life.